It's the most amazing box. If you do audio stuff, it's the most amazing box in the world. I love it. Because I can add live effects.
Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. Today I've got a very special guest with me, but I'll let him introduce himself.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay Britton. I'm a voice actor based in the UK, primarily in video games and animation.
Yes, so you have a mutual friend that I know that I've interviewed a number of times, Doug Cockle, who does the voice of Geralt of Rivia, where most people know him from. And then he pointed me towards you, and to my shame, I didn't actually know your name. Like, know it. I know, terrible.
Outrageous.
And then I started going through your list, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've played like so many of these games, and you start going through the clips and you check it out on YouTube. It's like, I actually know your voice. You've been a part of my journey in gaming for ages. How did you get started in, because you're an actor, but you're a voice actor as well?
So I'm really weird. I actually had a 13-year career in IT to start with.
Okay.
I was always the kid at school who was doing the silly voices, and I did theatre and musical theatre for a while. And then I thought I should probably get a real job. So I did 13 years in IT, but was always a performer and always had this yearning to do voices. So after about 13 years or so, I realized that my soul was very black and charred and dead inside from working in the corporate IT world. So thought I should probably give this voiceover thing a shot. So I kind of dabbled for 2 or 3 years, kind of not putting my heart into it and really, really going for it. Had some success, was making a part-time kind of living out of it, and then just got to a point where I decided, okay, I'm going to do it properly. I'm going to absolutely go for it. So I went over to LA and had a couple of demos produced out there, met a load of amazing people, one of my coaches was Rob Paulson. So like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, one of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Wow.
Biker Mice from Mars.
Amazing.
Very surreal sitting in a hotel room with him.
Yeah.
Like, your voice of my childhood. So I went over there, got coached and got demos done and had a website built, and then kind of just went hell for leather, trying to get agents and build up kind of clients. And video games was always an area I knew I was going to want to work in, because I'm mid-30s, so I've been around since the beginning of video games, really almost since Pong, but definitely the Mega Drive and the Master System. Always been a gamer. So I was like, I'm going to want to work in games, and just kind of made contact and started meeting developers, and obviously having an agent got me auditions, but I mainly just started making friends with the amazing game developers that are out there, and been very fortunate enough to end up working with them.
Wow. So what was the change? I mean, obviously in yourself, you decided, like, I'm going to go for it and this is going to be my career. But was there a particular game or a moment where you're like, I've got this now. I know I can do this.
Yeah, I think part of it was just realizing that kind of giving up worrying about failing, because it's very easy if you're not really throwing yourself into it. You don't have to worry so much if you don't make it. So kind of just getting rid of that thought and just going, whatever. If I fail, I fail. Let's just go for it. But I also I ended up doing a really weird TV commercial, and I had no idea what it was going to turn into. But there was a tweet from a casting director. This was before I was full time in voice, just saying, do you have a dream? I was like, yeah, I do. I want to be a full-time voice actor. So I applied to that, went off to this casting in London, and the next thing I know, I'm being flown first class out to Los Angeles, and then up to San Francisco to be part of this new TV commercial for the new Ford Mustang. And it was the most surreal experience in my life, like driving through closed-off streets in San Francisco with a Porsche Cayenne camera car going all around me. But in that, as part of that, they were exploring people's dreams, and they dropped a surprise. I think they had 12 of us, and they dropped a surprise on each one of us during filming. And mine was that they'd arranged an audition at a place called Tippett Studios, which you might not know of, but you do know of them. There's that meme that goes around about Jurassic Park with like head dinosaur guy, Phil Tippett. And it's always like, damn it, Phil.
Yeah.
But Tippett Studios did all the like special effects and all the prop stuff for Jurassic Park, Starship Troopers, a whole load of franchises, and they'd arranged me an audition there for their latest project. So I found myself like 5,000 miles from home, jet lagged, doing an audition at an amazing studio whilst being filmed for a documentary. I kind of came out of that going, do you know what? If I can stomach the pressure of doing that and still managing to do an audition, then I should just shut up and get on with this.
Wow.
Because I can do it. And then from that point on, it was just, that 2014 changed my life. That was the year that happened. And by the end of that year, I had my new studio and new demos, and I was in New York picking up a couple of awards for my voice work. It was insane. So that was a pretty big defining moment of, well, I guess we're doing this now. Okay.
What would you say to aspiring voice actors, saying, because you've been there from the beginning and you've had to work up, you haven't had like a special chances. There's moments, but you've gone from ground up. What would you say? What is that the thing they need to know or thing they need to do?
There are two things. Never put aspiring voice actor on your Twitter bio, ever, because nobody hires aspiring voice actors. They hire voice actors. It's like, my analogy is always, you'd never take your car to an aspiring mechanic. So
True.
Take that off. You're either a voice actor or you're not. Get it into your head from day one. And the second thing is what 99% of people do wrong when they want to work in voice acting is they forget it's a business. And I mentioned kind of just before we started that I also coach people who want to get into voice acting, and I coach about the business side of it. And I always say, you could be selling baked beans. Like, it doesn't really matter that it's voice. It's a business, which means you need to approach it like a business. Have a plan, have branding, have a good website, have good demos, be professional, turn up on time. I think because it's an area that a lot of people want to work in, there's a lot of, I'm so lucky to book a job, or I'm so lucky to be here. It's like, no, you're there because you're good enough to book the job. Take that confidence. You don't need to feel like a beggar at the table who's just so lucky to work in it. Be confident in what you are and what you do and approach it. Remember, it's a business. You need to have a sustainable financial income under this. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it for very long.
Yeah.
And take that approach. And if you take that approach, you got a good shot at hopefully, lasting. I mean, I've been working in voice now for somewhere near a decade in one form or another. And it's definitely, as much as I malign spending 13 years in IT in a corporate world, that approach definitely helped me starting out in treating it very much like, well, this is a business that's got to make money or I'm going to have to stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know for myself, for YouTube, there came a time where I had to go, this is business, not just hobby. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of your games, your work. I'm scrolling through now. There's a lot.
The weird thing is, like, IMDb is probably only half of them.
Oh, really? Gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing about games is they don't always get an IMDb page.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know some of my work is not on there, so that's absolutely true. So there's a few big names. There's a few really cool ones that I was like, you're in that? Amazing. Like Spectrum Retreat. Brilliant little game.
Spectrum Retreat. Good morning. Yeah.
Yes. What are some of your favorites? And would you mind showing us a little bit of your skills with your voices?
Oh, God. Okay.
On the spot.
Now I've got to remember things. I mean, funnily enough, the Spectrum Retreat is actually one of my favorites. There's a writing company called Tailspinners, who I've worked with on a number of occasions, and the writers there are good friends of mine now, really. And the Spectrum Retreat was actually written by one of those guys, Charles Armstrong. So it was great to be able to get to work on something that essentially a friend of mine at that point had written. And it's a really nice script, and the what would you call him? Not the maitre d', the butler.
Yeah, I would go butler. Yeah.
Butler, yeah.
Weird butler.
The weird robot butler, and it's quite an interesting character to play, especially the speech he gives at the end of the game, where it's all kind of revealed what the Spectrum Retreat actually is. That was really fun to play. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And that's just most work in games. People talking about aspiring voice actors, like, don't worry too much about being able to do the voices, like silly voices. Like, the butler is just my voice, but so slightly insidious.
Okay.
I hate to disturb you. It's very much about the performance rather than the voice. So the Spectrum Retreat was great. I loved being involved in Elite Dangerous.
Yeah.
It was kind of a privilege, really, because I was the first, or part of the first voice work that really went into Elite, as from a narrative perspective. You know, there'd been tutorial voices, but this was the first narrative audio that went in these logs on generation ships, and I was fortunate enough that my log on the generation ship was the first one that ever got discovered in game, and kind of people went crazy. Like, oh my god, we found audio logs. There's audio logs in. It's great.
Yeah.
And the Elite community have been wonderful. There's such a great community. And they ended up at an Elite convention doing a sword fight with my colleague Amelia Tyler, who's also in Elite and was also the first audio logs to be discovered. And that guy, the main audio log, I think I've done like 35 characters in Elite, but the first guy that was discovered was this. He's cold and dying on this generation ship because the stuff has gone down. And we kind of made him like he's kind of from New York, slight Brooklyn. And, battery power's about to die. And the thing is, what we couldn't, it wasn't quite working when we were recording it. And then we kind of hit on the fact that, well, this spaceship is dying, and he talks about how cold it is. And it's little things like this now, like adding in that kind of breath, like you get when you're shivering, and kind of reflecting the environmental condition on the ship and what you're doing with your voice. So, he kind of became, battery power's about the, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm cold. So that was really fun, and I love kind of any excuse to do that kind of accent and that kind of voice. And then I guess the other main one I'd shout out is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah.
Which was so much fun. Again, I think I did about 30-something characters in those, ranging from my natural voice. Like one of the main ones was a guy you find in a swamp who's had his eyes ripped out, called Magister Locke. It's just basically my voice, but he's in a hell of a situation, and I don't know what's going on, and it's just kind of up there. And then the other one I'm known for in that is a sex lizard.
What?
Yeah, there's one of the kind of, I guess, side quests or places you go is there's a brothel, and the character can choose to have sex with me. And they go upstairs and they find Zerat is his name, and the narrator describes him as the lizard has a voice like graveled honey, and it's basically here. It's all just high. It's it's my voice, but it's just enunciated and silky smooth. It's horribly perverted, and then he nicks all your stuff. And then what else? Oh God, I have to mention this guy. You can tell my love for Divinity already because I'm ranting. But I got to play a crab called Imperior, and you find these two crabs in Divinity, and one's called Imperior, and I think the other one's called Sereptor. And Imperior is trying to hunt down Sereptor, but they're just two little crabs because Sereptor's apparently some evil witch. But we sort of made him like a Gandalf. And I feel like I should press my little effect button over here now. We sort of made him like a Gandalf.
Nice.
But he has a line, like he talks to the player, and then he just has to run off to go and hunt Sereptor, and he just goes, Imperio, away! And in the booth, I was sort of going like this.
What, like Bender? What's his face from Futurama? Yeah,
exactly. As old Zoidberg.
Zoidberg, that's it. Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Divinity was really good fun to work on, and the bunch of the guys at Larian have written. The work they did on Divinity was stunning, and I got to go over to the studio in Dublin and meet a couple of the writers and stuff. And yeah, fantastic bunch. Divinity was great fun.
Amazing.
I could go on and on.
So, what's the goal? What's the ultimate goal? Like, if you could choose a project, if you, like, someone went, okay, we've seen what you've done, here's a list of, like, the golden opportunities.
God. I mean, I have to say, like, Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
If I could work with, like, Neil Druckmann, done. I've done bits of motion capture work as well, and facial capture. I've not yet, I don't think, not for games, I haven't done full performance capture.
Right.
It's always either been body and face or just face and voice. So I kind of want to get a go at that, but definitely working with something like a Naughty Dog or Gorilla I love the stuff that Guerrilla makes as well. I'm just playing through Gears of War 5 as well, and I love that as a franchise. So I'd love to do that. But the number one thing I think I would really like to do is I'd like to play an interesting character. Like, it's all very well and good. I think playing protagonists is boring to some extent. You know, if you're playing the player character, sometimes that has to be a slightly vanilla character so that the player can imprint themselves onto the player in some way.
Yeah.
And you know, as great a character as Joel is in Last of Us and slightly nuanced, he still has to fit into that kind of mid-30s gruff white American male protagonist. So you go, oh, okay, I'm comfortable with this. I can understand this. But what's coming out is starting to happen now, and really it's as a result of the improvements we're making in how we're writing female characters, because female characters have been awful for a long, long time, and only now we're kind of starting to represent them well, is that then gives scope. I kind of make it analogous to this. If we start writing good, strong female characters, we give space to start writing broken, weak male characters who are vulnerable and terrified, and they're not the guy carrying the world on their shoulders anymore. That becomes fascinating to play. So you take something like Naughty Dog and that kind of really complex character, make them a villain. I love a good villain, and by which I mean a good villain, I mean the villain that thinks they're right, and kind of you could almost end up agreeing with, like, well, actually, yeah, you kind of are. Like Black Panther, the film, the antagonist in that, you kind of end up sympathizing with him a little bit by the end of the film. And I want that, but in game form. Like, give me a really complicated villain who isn't really a villain and is a bit broken and a bit just messed up. Like, give me Darkness. I quite like playing Darkness. So give me Naughty Dog or Guerrilla or somebody along those lines with a full performance capture role doing something a little bit messed up. That'd be good. I'd take that.
So what are your kind of top 5 games or your go-to for inspiration when you're working on a character? What would you go to?
Wow. Good question. I'll be honestly, I don't tend to go to games for inspiration. I think because of the medium games have now become and the performance styles, is they're akin to film and theater and stuff now. So generally, I just kind of draw on everything from the 35 years I've been on the planet, depending on the character that I'm being asked to play. And usually it'll be a case of me finding something in the character description that I can hook onto. And go, okay, what does this person want? Like, what's their, there is a kind of an acting term of what's their want? What do they want out of it?
Yeah.
What do they want by the end of this scene? Just trying to find something that hooks into what's going on underneath of that character. And then I think it's not a conscious thing, I don't think. I don't tend to go, okay, I want to perform this type of character, I'll go and watch this. I have if you interview Amelia Tyler, she may well mention that I have a very weird memory. It's almost not case in point, I can't remember the word now. Eidetic. It's not quite eidetic, but there's just like a massive repository of scripts and lines and characters in my head. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to draw from that database, and here comes a character.
That's really handy.
It's very handy, yeah. But occasionally, quite often now, with audition materials that come through, they'll send you a YouTube link.
Wow.
Like, we want this kind of character, or we want this kind of feel. More often than not, they're after a certain feeling about a character that they want to get. So that'll be a case of trolling through YouTube and watching footage of that actor for a long time or that character.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the stuff I've researched for roles, I'm on a lot of lists now. FBI, CIA, Met Police.
Your search history.
Yeah, why is Jay Googling explosives? Because my character's an alchemist and I need to understand this. Yeah.
Yeah, research history must be interesting.
Terrifying.
Right, so and normally when I get towards an end of questioning, I like to ask you things like tea or coffee?
Oh, God, it used to be tea, now very much coffee, most recently decaf coffee because I can't sleep anymore.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Both.
Okay. Batman or Superman?
Batman. Easy.
Okay. Easy. Oh.
Superman's too nice. Superman's too vanilla. Give me some darkness.
Yeah, your darkness. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Yay.
In fact, you can't. I don't know if you can quite see it, depending if you crop this at all. But there's a Marvel canvas of Avengers characters up
Oh
there.
yeah, I can see a bit. Yeah, nice. All right, thank you so much. I think that's
Pleasure.
That's great. I probably would love to chat to you again, maybe in a little while. We'll see see what's going on. What have you got coming up?
Can't really say because it's all under NDA. I can talk. This one's been announced. There's a game called I don't know if it's a working title, but it's called Project Thalassa, and it's from Sarepta Studios, who made the BAFTA-winning My Child Lebensborn. And it's a psychological thriller involving deep sea diving. There's a trailer up on YouTube. You can hear some of my voice work in that trailer. So that's probably the only public thing that's announced that I can talk about, but that's coming up, and I think it looks really, really cool. The trailer gave me goosebumps.
What is Operation Alley Cat?
Operation Alley Cat, crikey, yeah, that is an animated film from Mark Flood, which I've done. That was actually one of the first animated jobs I ever did. I hope it will see the light of day. But I did a load of sort of lizard gangsters for that animated film, which is about a couple of mice that get into all sorts of trouble. It's a very, the animation style of it is almost like old Disney. You remember like the old Robin Hood Disney film? It's that kind of slightly cell animation style film. So I don't know when that'll be out, but I hope it will be out at some point soon, and I can see my lizard gangsters who were doing awful things to mice, I think.
Thank you so much for spending the time.
Pleasure.
And if you want to know Jay's details, I'll chuck them at the below this, so you can find him, get some coaching if you're an aspiring voice actor, and I'm sure he can point you in the right direction as well.
Be my pleasure. And if anyone wants complete nonsense, they're more than welcome to come and hang out on my Twitch channel as well. I've just started twitching and it's so much fun.
What are you twitching?
I'm twitching a whole host of stuff. It usually descends into just chatting about voice acting. Or I'm streaming, kind of variety streaming. So I was playing Batman last night. But actually, on a voice acting note and just an acting note, I've started playing Grand Theft Auto role playing. So there's a modded server that's full of other human players that you just come across and you role play out. So it's 100% improv.
Wow.
And I've created this character called Montgomery Ernest. So we drive him around in this beat up van through the streets of Los Santos and just bump into other human players, and you don't know where it's gonna go. It's wonderful, and a good improv lessons.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I might actually check that out. Sounds a lot of fun.
Good.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much for being with us. This is the Ruby Tuesday, and we've been with Jay. Let me check I get the name right. Jay Britton. Is that right?
That's
Hey, excellent.